This is your host Kanchan Burman. We bring you the latest and most impactful stories from around the world. So let's dive right into it. Let's start with our first news. Is Diljit Dosanjh concert a nightmare for Indian sports? Athletes were seen cleaning beer bottles, garbage at JLN. Beer bottles, various piles of trash, food waste, plastic bags were littered everywhere at the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium after Diljit Dosanjh concert. Diljit Dosanjh two-day concert in New Delhi has left the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium, the country's top training ground for athletes of various sports disciplines, in chaos. When athletes reached the stadium on Monday morning, they were really disappointed by the state of the stadium and the training facilities. Beer bottles, piles of trash, food waste, plastic bags were littered everywhere, making it next to impossible to even breathe there. The track was closed for 10 days due to Diljit Dosanjh musical event on October 26 and 27 and is expected to remain closed for a few more days as organizers work on the cleanup. As a result, many athletes preparing for the Junior National Championships and other local events have had to move to the less maintained warm-up track outside the main stadium. They expressed that this has disturbed their training routines. Sprinter Ajit said, "It was such a bad sight. We worship this place and see what they have done." Who is preparing for the Junior Nationals in Odisha, which was postponed last week because of Cyclone Dana. The All India Police Championships is also going to happen next month. "We tried cleaning up the stadium but it was not possible," stated the Delhi State and School Games Federations of India medalists. Another Delhi sprinter, Rahul Raj Mahato, said it was hard to train on the outside warm-up track as it is old and worn out. You can see the base, there is a chance of injury. The concert organizers damaged our hurdle. Who will pay? Now let's move to next story. New Delhi was ranked the world's most polluted city on Friday morning, days after Diwali celebration took air quality to hazardous levels. According to Swiss firm IQ Air, despite a ban on firecrackers, various residents celebrated with fireworks, resulting in the thick smoke that covered the city. The air quality index went 388 at Anand Vihar station at 10 am. According to National Air Quality Index or AQI by the Central Pollution Control Board, this is categorized as very poor, which raises health concerns for residents. This has put Delhi at the top of the world's real-time pollution rankings according to IQ Air. Delhi residents refused the ban on the firecrackers. Although the Delhi government has enforced firecracker ban during Diwali in recent years to limit pollution, compliance was largely neglected. Most areas of Delhi, the AQI remained above 350, with Ayanagar at 352, Jahangirpuri at 390 and Dwarka reaching 376. All categorized as very poor and posing serious health risk. The pollution problem extended beyond Delhi, with cities like Chennai and Mumbai also experiencing smoke and poor air quality. Residents in these places expressed growing issues over pollution level connected to Delhi celebrations. The harmful cases of crackers added to the already worsened air as seasonal crop burning from the neighbor state, common during early winter, contributed to the smoke. Cold, heavy air traps pollutants from multiple sources, decreasing the quality of air. Now let's see the next story. Chhath is a very huge Hindu festival celebrated in the state of Bihar and eastern Uttar Pradesh. Making the announcement on X, Twitter, Atishi posted, "I am happy to inform you that the Delhi government has decided to declare a holiday on November 7 for the festival of Chhath so that all our brothers and sisters of Purvanchal can celebrate the festival with pomp and show." Chhath Puja is an important festival for the people of NCT of Delhi. According, the government of NCT of Delhi has decided to declare November 7, 2024 as a public holiday on account of Chhath Puja, the order by Atishi. Earlier in the day, the Raj Niwas Delhi said in a post on X, Honorable Lieutenant Governor has written to Honorable CM requesting her to move the file for announcing November 7, 2024 as a public holiday on the occasion of Chhath Puja. This festival is dedicated to the worship of the sun god and is celebrated by people following a rigorous routine that lasts for 4 days. The rituals and traditions of this festival include fasting, offering prayers to the rising and setting sun, holy bathing and meditation while standing in the water. Let's move ahead. Extending the news further, during this festive season, Indian Railways declared additional special trains for travellers. Starting on Saturday, October 2, due to Chhath Puja, special arrangements have also been made for passenger convenience at key stations. Earlier, the Railway Minister said that to facilitate passengers, 7,435 special trains are being operated for their convenience and 150 additional special trains are set to be scheduled if required. On Friday, Union Railways Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw visited New Delhi railway station to oversee the arrangements made for the travelling of passengers during the festive season. Vaishnaw said that by October 31st, 51 lakh people had already travelled on special trains. As the festivals come to an end, the Indian Railways is preparing for the return of passengers. He noted that an additional 150 special trains will be deployed if necessary. The Union Railways Minister stated, "Good arrangements have been made. A big holding area has been set up. Methodical arrangements have been made for the proper movement of passengers. A record 7,435 special trains are being run. Last year the number was 4,500, which in itself was a record. Till 31st October, 51 lakh people have travelled on special trains." He added that once the festival ends, arrangements are in place to manage the return people effectively. Now, let's jump on to next one. Vivek Debroy, the chairman of Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council and a top economist, left this world on Friday morning. He was 69 years old. He was taken to AIIMS. Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid tribute to Vivek Debroy after he died. PM posted on his X account saying Dr. Vivek Debroy ji was a towering scholar, well versed in diverse domains like economics, history, culture, politics, spirituality and many more. Through his work, he left an indelible mark on India's intellectual landscape. Beyond his contributions to public policy, he enjoyed working on our ancient texts, making them accessible to the youth. He has shared a picture of himself with Vivek Debroy. Vivek Debroy was educated in Ramakrishna Mission School, Narendrapur Presidency College, Kolkata, Delhi School of Economics and at Trinity College, Cambridge. He was really a hard-working person. He had worked in Presidency College, Kolkata, Gokhale Institute of Politics of Economics, Pune, Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, Delhi, and also as the director of a Ministry of Finance UNDP project on legal reforms. Who was Vivek Debroy? Vivek Debroy was a distinguished Indian economist, author and scholar famous for his contribution to economic policy and Sanskrit text. He shaped India's economic policies too. He was well versed in diverse like microeconomics, public finance and infrastructure. Debroy has published extensively on topics such as economic reforms, governance and the Indian Railways. He was also known for his work in translating classical Sanskrit texts, including the Mahabharata and the Bhagavad Gita, ancient Indian wisdom to modern readers. Now let's move further. Nagpur police Wednesday arrested 35-year-old Jagdish UK from Gondia, who was suspected to be behind hoax bomb threats which targeted several airlines. Dr. Ravinder Singhal, Commissioner of Nagpur Police, said Jagdish UK has been detained and is in the custody of Nagpur Police. He is being asked certain questions to decide the further course of the action. The inquiry in the case is still not complete, and he would be detained once a case is registered. While police had reported that UK was on the run and his last location was traced to New Delhi, the 35-year-old man claimed that he had informed police about his whereabouts and his intention was to meet them upon his return to the Nagpur. When contacted, Jagdish, who arrived in Nagpur before Diwali, stated he was in his way to the police station to meet officers in person. His intention was to alert the officers and not to threaten them, he said, adding that he sent the email on October 26, 2024. I emailed the police to inform them about potential terrorist activities that could happen in future at the airport. Providing information is different from making threats. Instead of giving me the credit, the police are defaming me. I believe there is no reason to be afraid if I haven't done anything wrong. Even I am clueless as to why they are accusing me, he added. Jagdish cited the book on terrorism which he had authored to claim that he has knowledge on security and terrorism. There are several details in the book that I wrote which obviously the common people or even the police would not know. My intention was to just alert them, he said. He replied to the question he was asked what he would do if police arrest him. He responded, I am not bothered since I am not the guilty. If they arrest me, they will have to present an evidence to the court, which even I have. I know the nature of email I sent. I am prepared to sue the cops if needed. Regarding the letter he shared on social media platform about his book, which he attributed to Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, Jagdish maintained that the letter was provided to him by officers of the state government over WhatsApp. While more than 300 flights operated by Indian carriers received hoax bomb threats, most of the threats were issued through social media government agencies, had said earlier. Let's move ahead towards few international news. So let's start. India's Rachel Gupta crowned first Miss Grand International 2024. Rachel Gupta, a 20-year-old who hails from Jalandhar in Punjab, has made history by becoming the first Indian and only the third Asian to be crowned Miss Grand International. In an exclusive interaction with TNIE, Rachel, who is currently in Bangkok, said, bringing such a significant achievement to my country fills me with immense pride and joy. Of course, winning the crown is just half of the journey. The real challenge now is to prove myself a worthy queen, and I am fully committed to doing so. The 12th edition of the pageant, which started late in September, saw participation from 68 contestants representing their nation or territory. 20 of them went on to the final round, which was held in Bangkok, Thailand on October 25th. Each contestant was selected through a national contest or in some cases handpicked. Rachel was crowned the winner of the Miss Grand India 2024. At the national final, she also won the subtitles of Miss Top Model, Best in Ramp Walk, Beauty with Purpose and Best National Costume. From the get-go, Rachel demonstrated immense potential. Through only 20, she had been doing pageantry for a while, and this really showed in her poise, her choreography and command of the stage. She was the standard performer of the event and its deserved winner. Rachel started modeling in 2022 at the age of 18. That same year, she was crowned Miss Super Talent of the World at the 15th edition of the pageant held in Paris. Her run-up to the final of the latest pageant involved a swimsuit and a sportswear competition, a national costume parade, a preliminary competition, a closed interview session and the final show. The final time India came close to winning the coveted title was in 2018 when Meenakshi Chaudhary, who hails from Haryana, was crowned the first runner-up. Now let's jump on to next story. Kamala Harris, Joe Biden neglected Hindus. Donald Trump condemns violence against minorities. Former US President Donald Trump on Thursday condemned the violence against Hindus and other minorities in Bangladesh and vowed to protest Hindu Americans if he wins the upcoming US presidential elections. Trump also attacked US President Joe Biden and VP Kamala Harris for ignoring Hindus across the world in between ongoing fights. He stated Bangladesh remains in a total state of chaos and alleged that his Democratic rival Vice President Kamala Harris and her boss President Joe Biden have ignored Hindus across the world and in America. Trump posted on X, I strongly condemn the barbaric violence against Hindus, Christians and other minorities who are getting attacked and looted by mobs in Bangladesh, which remains in a total state of chaos. The former president said, It would have never happened on my watch. Kamla and Joe have ignored Hindus across the world and in America. They have been a disaster from Israel to Ukraine to our own southern border. But we will make America strong again and bring back peace through strength. Donald Trump stated that under his administration, he will protest Hindu Americans challenging the anti-religion agenda of the radical left. Talking about ties with India, he stated, under my administration, we will also strengthen our great partnership with India and my good friend Prime Minister Modi. He posted on X, Kamala Harris will destroy your small businesses with more regulations and higher taxes. By contrast, I cut taxes, cut regulation, unleash American energy and build the greatest economy in history. We will do it again, bigger and better than ever before, and we will make America great again. Extending his Diwali wishes to all Hindus, Trump stated, Happy Diwali to all. I hope the festival of lights leads to the victory of good over evil. So let's now see some latest stories about the sports world. The road to the 2025 IPL season is already in motion as all 10 teams have shared their retention list, revealing which player will stay with them and which ones will be available in the upcoming auction. The highest paid player on the retention list was Henrich Klaasen, whom Sunrisers Hyderabad retained for 23 crores. Close behind him were Virat Kohli and Nicholas Puran, who RCB and LSG retained for 21 crores. Meanwhile, several well-known players will be looking for new teams in the auction. Among these are Delhi's star Rishabh Pant, surprisingly released along with KL Rahul, KKR's championship-winning captain Shreyas Iyer and India's top fast bowler Arshdeep Singh. Additionally, overseas stars like Joss Butler and Glenn Maxwell will also be up for grabs. Punjab Kings kept the fewest players, leaving coach Ricky Ponting with a hefty 110 crore for auction, the highest budget this year. RCB will enter the auction with 83 crore and only 3 retained players, while DC has 73 crore under its new leadership. Both KKR and RR are heading to the auction with 6 players each already in their squad. Through Rajasthan will have only 41 crore left and no right to match options. There is also talk about legendary CSK captain Mahendra Singh Dhoni playing in the next IPL. CSK is considering keeping Dhoni for the 2025 season with a 4 crore contract. Dhoni mentioned at the promotional event that he wants to enjoy the last few years of his career. On fitness, Dhoni shared that to be prepared for the 2.5-month IPL season, he needs to stay fit for 9 months. He noted, you need to plan it out but also relax a bit. Let's jump on to our last story of today. While most children of his age are absorbed in cartoons like Shin Chan and Doraemon or playing with toys, young Anish Sarkar found his fascination in the quiet strategy of chess pieces, sparkling a journey few could achieve. At just 3 years, 8 months and 19 days, the kid from Kaikhali in North Kolkata on Friday became the youngest rated chess player in history. Anish was born on January 26, 2021 and he made his debut in competitive chess with the West Bengal State Under-9 Open in October, securing an impressive 5.5 out of 8 points and finishing 24th overall, winning against 2 rated players, RF Chatterjee and Ayilan Beshia. He was also fortunate to get an opportunity to play against India number 1 and world number 1 Grandmaster Arjun Erigaisi in simultaneous exhibition match during the Bengal Rapid Rating Open. Just a week later, Anish tested his skills again in the West Bengal State Under-13 Open, where he faced older experienced players. Though the event was challenging, it became a vital step in his journey, meeting the needs of facing 5 famous players, ultimately earning him an initial FIDE rating of 1555, which was updated on Thursday. In doing so, he surpassed the previous record set by Tejas Tiwari, who had become the youngest FIDE rated player at 5 years, India's second Grandmaster and his coach Devyendu Barua. Anish emergence comes as India's witnesses an exciting era in chess, with young talents like Erigaisi, R. Prangananda and D. Gukesh shines internationally. And that concludes today's video. Stay connected with our channel, The Quest, for the latest updates and insights. Thank you for watching.